at my lunch break. And this is how it's done when you're at a lunch break. Make some room for some of these because they're getting fat. Looking good. It's time to plant some flower seeds. So let's see my little setup here. I've got the little coconut core pods, which I call them pods, but they're really little pellets. And I've got fabric pots that I adore for planting multiple seeds mostly. And then I've got another batch here and a batch here. And this is just a bowl, like a rice bowl of some sorts. I have put just a generic potting soil in here. I'm not too worried about the seeds that I plant in here. So let's begin the journey. Here is my setup, water included. The water's pretty important if you're a new gardener because there's a little stress that happens when you're just excited or overwhelmed and stuff. And I'll tell you some of the easiest flower seeds to grow. I'll show that to you near the end of the video. So here's the categories I have. I've got this as direct sow. Not too worried if they grow or not. I've got the medium and lower type of flowers because the height is fairly important when I'm considering what areas to grow different things. And then I've got my taller plants that could be any between 8, 10, 12 feet. You'll have to forgive me as I live in a very busy city. So for these little pods, I usually will just kind of pull out the edges. You don't have to do this, but I like to do it before I plant seeds because of the labels that I have. I usually plant these, but I don't usually do them all at once. I kind of space them out. So I've got petunias. Those need light to germinate, by the way. I learned that last year and I kind of freaked out because I kept wondering why they never germinated. They're like a plum color. There's some calendula, some strawberry calendula. Then we have African daisies, coneflower, creeping zinnias, lavender, alyssum, snapdragons, Johnny jump ups, nasturtiums, celosia, I think it's called, and some marigolds. So marigolds is probably the most important besides the nasturtium, as they protect a lot of plants. If you don't want them to get lost, try to put your label in before you put your seeds. I'll go ahead and try to dig out this old video I tried to make in 2020 regarding on how to plant seeds, which will kind of outline how to cover them and how deep and you need to put those seeds. But for now, just try to get the label in there before you plant any seeds because it will save you so much hardship because then you gotta identify the plant later, which isn't very helpful. So the seeds took about half of the tray, and I've got these over here that I'm gonna put in the fabric pots. You could probably put about 5 seeds in these pots because they don't mind to be too close together. I'm doing the jewel nasturtium. Pretty old seeds. I think I got them like in 2018 or something, so they should do fine. I try to plant as much as I can of marigolds because they're superstars in the garden. Coneflower is hit or miss. I'm not always successful with them. They might appear to be difficult, but it seems like in the second year, they just pop all over the place. So if you plant any, don't fret about it. Like if it doesn't work out, like you'd be surprised. Just try it. All right. right, this is the taller plants. So we've got some aster, bergamot, borage, chicory, cosmos, valerian, spider, flower, autumn beauty. Only have 2 more of these velvet queens. They're beautiful. Those look beautiful too. Phlox, amaranth, buckwheat, bee balm, and some queen lime zinnias. And I've got, as I mentioned earlier, here's some direct, so there's some cosmos and more zinnias and stuff in here. So I'm going to add these real quick and I will be back. So I've got all of the plants, covering these guys up, just tuck them in. Then I'll put shower caps on the little guys. Now I'm going to direct sow these guys. All kinds of things in here. Zinnias, chamomile, bluegrass. I know that's not a flower, but I wanted to plant some. This is African daisies, cosmos, clover, coneflower, sunflowers. This is the mammoth. And some mixed zinnias. So I'm going to go show you how I typically do it. I've got my setup over here. It's not much. A lot of these are things that I have on hand. I've got some shower caps next to the skewers. Potting soil. This is just to help adjust the soil a little. Worm compost. I've got a little cover thing. It's usually for microwaves, but I like to use it for seeds. And this little container, I'll have to cut it to adjust what I want to do to cover the seeds. And all this does is retains the moisture for the seeds to develop. In the past, when I haven't had covers like that, it doesn't work out as well. So one other thing is water. And if you're doing a large area, you'll want to have a trash bag or something. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of direct sowing, as I can't go to one place and check on the plants. One of the first things I do is I water the area as much as I can, because those seeds are going to shift. So wait for it to seep in and go another round. The other thing that I have to consider when I implant the seeds is how tall the plants are going to get. So in this case, I'm going to plant some alyssum because I know I want the chamomile and the strawberries to remain happy. So now I need to adjust the soil a little. To get more water going. It doesn't have to be soaking drenched. Then a little bit of worm compost. And this is just gonna help. You don't want to put too much, but I like to put a little bit. Alyssum seeds, and they're very, very tiny seeds. So you're gonna want to treat them with a lot of care. Use the pinch method. You're just pinching, and you sprinkle. Pinch, sprinkle. Just make sure you don't do a whole huge gob in one place. Sprinkle. And the size of this seed determines how deep the seed needs to be. In this case, it's so tiny, it's like almost a lettuce seed, so you're just gonna spread your finger across like that. You're done. And cover it. Just pressing it in. And since the wind gets pretty crazy around here, I'm gonna grab a little rock and just place it where the wind is gonna blow. And that's done. Yes, I didn't put down a label first, but there was a reason. I had planted these alyssum here last year. It's only been here for 10 minutes, and look at the moisture buildup. The next step is the polytunnel. This year, I have plans to plant zinnias next to tomatoes and cucumbers. And the reason why is zinnias are great for repelling cucumber beetle, and they're also great for tomato hornworms. Basil's another great one, but this year I'm going to try to go overboard with my zinnias. Add the worm compost. I don't need to do potting soil here because I just did a soil amendment not long ago. So usually I use gloves, but I don't have them with me. There's that. It says I got these seeds in 2019 at the 99-cent stores. Once again, try not to take your seeds and just drop them in there. Try to put it in your palm of your hands. You lose a lot more seeds when you're not carefully handling them. I want to do this whole package because it's not a big deal that it's 2019. I've had stuff that's like 2008, so it's not a big deal. But I want to plant all these because the germination rate isn't nearly as great the more it ages. But also when I get them in the 99-cent store, it's not as they're not as potent for some reason. So in this case, I'm just going to sprinkle. I'm just doing this, and don't be alarmed. I know that spacing is important, but all I'm trying to do right here is just have an outdoor direct sow. And then all of these are going to be moved once they're happy. So this just makes it where I look for one place in my garden. I'm all about not having to do extra work. So I have one place in my garden now to look for the zinnia seeds, and it's next to the tomato plant. And this little tomato plant is from last year, so I'm not worried if the zinnias take all the nutrients. As you can see, you're gonna get dirt in your nails if you don't use a marker or something else. And as you can see, I'm just pushing them down a little. But definitely wear gloves if this looks like a dirty mess to you, because it is. It could be messy. And you're gonna be tempted to put more water over this. Don't do it. Don't do it. You've already done 2 doses, and there's enough moisture that has been provided. The moisture that you're gonna get from your cover is gonna also be great. To do the idea I said earlier, where you add the sticks, it's fairly simple. Shower cap, 4 sticks. So all I'm doing is face down on my little skewer sticks, face down, and I'm just putting them in the vicinity. This polytunnel isn't that windy. If you have anything windy, this isn't the greatest idea. They're just gonna blow away. Bear that in mind. There's my 4 sticks. Okay. If you have a windy area, you could still do this. Just put a rock nearby. You can also put a little soil on top. That's not going to hurt anything. Usually if the seed wants to grow, they'll just grow. Just don't worry about it. The less you worry, the more you have fun, the more it really is the seed adventure that you want to experience. Pop quiz. What did I do wrong? This is what I did wrong. Make sure you put your labels down before you plant. Done.
Here's the easiest flowers to grow from seed. Marigolds, borage, cosmos, nasturtium, and sunflowers.
Your best bet on planting seeds, if you're new, are these 5 seeds.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this little seed journey with flowers. Let me know if you want to see more like this. Until next time.